Dvar Torah from Parshat Toldot 5784 from November 18th. Those who were there may remember that day, unfortunately, there was a bomb scare against our synagogue, a sad sign of our times, and so our recording was interrupted, and so I'm re-recording this at a later date for our website. Hakol kol Yaakov v'yadayim yedei Esav. The voice is the voice of Jacob, yet the hands are the hands of Esau. This is a verse from our Torah that I think is worth committing to memory. The voice is the voice of Jacob, yet the hands are the hands of Esau. In a passage full of drama and suspense, Jacob, disguised as his brother Esau, comes before father Isaac. His goal is to wrest a blessing from his father before fleeing for his life, since his aggrieved brother is on the warpath. Sight diminished, Isaac instructs his son, "Come closer, that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not." He touches his son's arm covered in hairy goatskins, a costume fashioned to deceive. And he remarks, Hakol kol Yaakov, v'hayadayim yedei Esav. The voice is the voice of Jacob, yet the hands are the hands of Esau. Genesis 27:22. Though they are twins, Esau and Jacob couldn't be more different. Esau is hairy, a sign of a wild outdoorsman who loves sport. Jacob is smooth, traditionally a sign of innocence and femininity. Esau is favored by dad, a man's man. Jacob is loved, coddled, and protected by his mother, a mama's boy. Esau is a hunter. Jacob, we are told, is a Yoshev Ohalim, one who sits in tents, an indoor kid perhaps. Our sages say this refers to the fact that he was a scholar, sitting in yeshivot, the study houses of our sages. The contrast between the two brothers becomes emblematic of the archetypal rivalry between the Jewish people and our enemies. Jacob is a stand-in for Israel. Esau, a stand-in for any number of foreign empires, Edom, Rome, the Christian Empire. They value might and aggression, while we prize the attributes of peace, respect, scholarship, sensitivity. As Rabbi Soloveitchik commented, Jacob was never interested in power. He wanted covenantal destiny. Esau was interested in power, violence, and force. He wants to be the strongest, richest, most populous. Jacob has different desires, ideals, and visions. So as this man appears before Isaac, hairy to the touch, but mild-mannered in his speech, Isaac identifies the contradiction and names it. Hakol kol Yaakov v'hayadayim yedei Esav. The voice is Jacob's, yet the hands are those of Esau. Now this could be an innocent comment, an expression of curiosity. Sounds like Jacob, but it feels like Esau. I wonder what's going on here. Or perhaps Isaac, though dim of sight, understands exactly what is transpiring. And his comment to Jacob is more akin to when a parent plays hide and seek with their child. You see the child hiding right there before the plant in the corner, but you pretend that you don't. Where are you? Are you under the table? No. Are you behind the couch? No. Meanwhile, the suspense builds and the child is being tested. How long can I hide before I'm discovered, before I reveal myself by laughing or coming clean? Here I am, Dad. I've often read these verses and wondered if Isaac wasn't playing along with this ruse in order to get Jacob to come out as his true self. Now, for most of my life, when I considered these verses, I understood Isaac's statement in the following way. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not in order to be worthy of my blessing. Come out from behind that mask, and I will bless you. Be Jacob, and I will bless you as Jacob. As for Esau, I will bless him with an appropriate blessing for him. Sure enough, that's what Jacob will do at the end of Genesis with all of his sons. Bless each of them with a unique blessing according to what they need to hear from their father. But this year, I think the question cuts deeper. Isaac isn't simply asking Jacob to take off the costume. Maybe he's asking a more existential question. Who are you really, my son? Who do you wish to be? After all, Jacob and Esau are twins. They're two sides of the same coin. You have the same genetic makeup. Which side of the self do you wish to express in the world? The Sfat Emet, a mystical Hasidic rabbi, argues that Jacob, in this moment of impersonation, expresses a desire to expand the range of self. And the Sfat Emet says, now good and evil are intermingled in him. He will be forever involved with the ambiguities of the world. This is a moment, according to the Sfat Emet, that represents the loss of childhood innocence and entry into the normal struggles of moral responsibility associated with growing up. Frightened by this challenge and from his brother, Jacob runs away, seeking refuge with his mother's family. It will take him years to return. In the next chapters of his life, he will marry, build a family. He will accumulate wealth and gain confidence until he's forced to confront his brother yet again. Only this time, he doesn't run away. He splits his camp into two and prepares for battle. Instead of flight, he prepares to fight. He learns to wrestle with himself and with God, and he prevails. His name changes from Jacob to Israel, and he is now a force to be reckoned with. You might say he's grown into the hands of Esau. But the question is, has he truly, fully found the voice of Jacob? Has he grown into that side of himself? Only in the moment of truth, when he finally meets his brother and sees that there is no longer a threat of hostility, then he softens. The brothers embrace and weep. And we hear the voice of Jacob once again, crying, willing to make space for another, willing to embrace another. Perhaps in Isaac's words we can hear a warning. I see you becoming more powerful, my son. Don't lose the voice of Jacob, which the world needs so desperately. There may be times you have to fight and wrestle, but you are fundamentally a person of peace and love, gentility, and kindness. Let the hands be those of Esau if they must, but never lose your sweet voice of Jacob. The modern state of Israel was founded as a response to the powerlessness of Jews. How many times in our long history had we been like Jacob, been forced to run away when we were in danger? We ran from Baghdad and Vilna, from Krakow and Tunis, from Tehran and Toledo. But after the Shoah, after the Holocaust, we decided we're done running. We settled in America and we built a modern Jewish state in our ancestral homeland in Israel. And over the past 75 years, Israel built an army, an economy, a vibrant culture of its own, and Jews thrived and continue to thrive in both these lands. Not without challenges, but we thrived. And we decided, consciously or otherwise, we are done running. This is it. America and Israel, the last stops for us. We did what we could to build our might and our wealth, to preserve our own dignity and integrity, but also to be a force for the dignity of all peoples. Zionism sought to revitalize and transform the Jewish body and spirit. If the diaspora was characterized by the weak Jacob who studied Talmud in the yeshiva, then the new Jew would return to the land, discovering the dignity of work and sweat. It was about taking our destiny in our own hands. And in recent years, there's been a renaissance in Israel of return to Judaism, in music, and in the flourishing of Torah study, people who seek to reintegrate the voice of Jacob with the hands of Esau. And then October 7th made us all feel like Jacob once again, wounded and vulnerable, powerless. But we remembered that we are not powerless. And though wielding power is a dangerous thing, what more noble cause than the protection of one's own people and the redemption of captives? Esau builds an army to conquer and to gain wealth. Jacob builds an army to protect his family. As Israeli teacher Shana Goldberg wrote this week, the world sees these soldiers dressed for battle, but we know the people behind those uniforms. The father holding his two children, one in each arm with the gun hanging behind his back. The daddy playing dolls with his little girls on the floor moments before he heads out the door. The mother lifting her son out of the crib after long shifts away. The world sees the weapons in their hands, but we hear the soft, gentle, moving, and prayerful voices. She concludes, "It's been 75 years and it has not gotten any easier. This will never be natural. Not this clothing, not these hands, not these weapons. War and fighting is not our way. We prefer to use our voice to advocate and create, to build and contribute, to comfort and care, to heal and bring people together. Am Yisrael Chai." We do not rejoice in the might that Israel must show. We never lose our compassion for innocent people who have been affected. We never lose sight of the incredible human toll that war has already taken on both sides. Perhaps you've seen the picture that's been circulating this week. It's an unsettling picture. It's a picture of a soldier, presumably in the field of battle in full military outfit, and a Torah scroll is out before him, and he's reading from the Torah, and he's pointing to the Torah not with a yad, not with a pointer, but instead with a military knife. It's an unsettling picture. I didn't like it when I saw it. I understand it. I try to make sense of it, but it unsettled me, because that is the hand of Esau. It's not the hand of Jacob. I hope that that soldier, even as he's fighting, is retaining the voice of Jacob. Hakol Kol Yaakov. I've heard the sweet voice of Jacob calling in recent weeks, but it's hard to hear over the crashing waves of war and the cacophony of voices shouting hateful things at and about us. The voice of Jacob doesn't make front page news, but they are the core of why Israel is a place that I'm proud of, even in this difficult time, perhaps especially at this difficult time. I hear the voice of Jacob in Rabbi Chaviva Ner David of Kibbutz Hanaton, who even in these difficult moments invited her Arab and Bedouin neighbors to the kibbutz to make signs of friendship together. They painted in Hebrew and Arabic statements like the following: "Good neighbors even in hard times." What tremendous courage it took for those people to come together in that way. I heard the voice of Jacob in my friend Ariel Keren, who's devoted his life and his career to building up the profession of medical clowns in Israel. Yes, I said that, medical clowns. I know it sounds a little silly, but it is nothing less than God's work on this earth. If you look up on the internet dream doctors, you'll see the most touching stories of these clowns who visit wounded soldiers and children in hospitals, Arab and Jewish. They go to the war zones, they go into bomb shelters, and they entertain, and they bring a little bit of joy and levity to moments which are so difficult to endure. In an interview in Israeli news this week, Ariel was interviewed about his work, and he said, "The red nose has a superpower. It creates a bubble of normalcy amidst chaos and immense trauma. Children should not be in wars. As clowns, we're trying to preserve the spirit of play and imagination even in the worst of circumstances." That's the voice of Jacob. I heard the voice of Jacob in the words of Tal Becker, a scholar at the Hartman Institute, who was interviewed this week by Yehuda Kurtzer about how Israel is striving to adhere to the laws and ethics of war even as they fight an utterly unethical enemy. I recommend you all listen to his conversation. I found it extremely helpful. I heard the voice of Jacob in Washington this week. As 300,000 of our friends and family gathered, we raised our voices, but they weren't angry voices, though we are angry. They weren't hateful or violent voices. They were loving voices, singing the words of songs that hope for a better time. One day there'll be no more wars, and our children will play. The tone of the rally was loving and positive, even in this darkest of hours. And I was especially appreciative of those who used their voices and their platform to acknowledge the pain and suffering of the Palestinian people. We are in pain, and it helped for us to come together. Acknowledging the pain of another doesn't diminish our commitment to our own. It makes us human, and we must not lose our humanity. Acknowledging immense loss to Palestinians doesn't make us weak or disloyal. It makes us compassionate, and it doesn't in any way undermine the legitimacy of Israel's military actions. One day, may it come soon, this war will end. May Israel prevail. And I pray that Israel emerges from this war with the voice of Jacob intact. I have feared in recent weeks, and I know some of you feel it too, that a part of me is changing, becoming more callous, more angry, more fearful. I look to Torah to keep me grounded in this moment of profound disorientation. And I hear the Torah reminding me to be Jacob, to be our namesake, even as we wear the clothes of Esau. Hakol kol Yaakov v'hayadayim yedei Esav. The voice is that of Jacob's, even as the hands wield power. May we continue to use our hands and our voices for good in this world. May this be the last Shabbat we pray for the return of the hostages to their families. May our enemies' designs against us fail. May our soldiers return home safely. And may all innocent children everywhere be able to play and live without the threat of violence. Shabbat Shalom.